right, y'all, it's 1 o'clock. So welcome to everybody who's here on time. That's one of the things that we're focusing on this year is just trying to be on time and respectful of everybody's time. So this meeting will only be 1 hour. Got a couple of rules for the meeting. So we're going to ask that everybody stay on mute the entire time they're on the meeting. We're going to reserve all questions to our Q&A section, in which that time I'm asking you all to type your questions into the chat. So in order to get to the chat, you go down to the bottom of your screen or on your phone, you're going to see something that says chat. You click that button and you ask your questions via typing it in. This will allow us to get through the meeting in a timely fashion without a lot of talking over one another. We will try to answer as many questions as we possibly can during that session. If we don't answer your question, we will have time later on to kind of still review some of the questions and possibly publish answers for some of those commonly asked questions. Hopefully, though, I address many of them during the presentation. With that said, let's jump into it. So Mayfield has 21 associations in 2022. And here a picture of those 21 associations. Been a lot of back and forth with different associations or whatnot, but the growth that we're experiencing this year is still on a positive trend. So we're excited to see what's going on for the 2022 season, and we have a lot of things planned toward our future. Now, keep in mind, this is the junior section of our coaches certification. So during this certification, I will be focusing heavily on 5U, 6U, 7U, and 8U rules. But our associations are, not in alphabetical order, but we got the Latonia Lions, the William Walker Tigers, Atlanta Bulldog Academy, Noonan Outlaws, Fairman Flames, 3D Champs, Gwinnett Top Guns, Atlanta Elite, Milford Warriors, Glenwood Hills Panthers, Riverdale Raiders, Sandtown Vikings, Old National Knights, SDA Hawks, Georgia Track Hawks, Georgia Silverbacks, Paulding Cowboys, Gators Elite, Gwinnett Junior Irish, Stonecrest Spartans, and Super Sports Elite Mustangs. Now, jumping right into it. So in 2022, we are doing something different with our ID badges. So with the ID badges, you see real life examples of these ID badges. There will be a park director ID badge, a head coach ID badge, team manager ID badge, as well as an ID badge for staff. And so coaches certification is $25 per person, which includes your game day badge and grants you access to all the Mayfield regular season games, playoffs, and championships. So those that have the badge, you will be allowed to go all access to many of the Mayfield events. There may be some restrictions if we do our awards gala, but other than that, game events and so forth, you will be allowed access to, because we want you all to participate in the things that we're doing. And we appreciate all the efforts that you guys are making toward making Mayfield one of the premier youth leagues in the Atlanta area. So with that being said, a couple of few features that I want you guys to take heed to as we go through these badges. All our badges, the park director badges, are black. And you see QR codes on all the badges. These badges last for 1 year. They are associated with your association that you are coaching with, has your age group, and the badges have the QR codes. What's unique about this QR code is if any event we have, or we want to honor a coach, or we have a coach that is not doing what they're supposed to do per our code of conduct, this is an opportunity for someone to scan that badge from a distance and report good activity and or negative activity without having to get up and ask a bunch of questions and become confrontational. So the badge gives you that ability to really help us, I won't use the word police the league, but manage the league. The other thing I want you all to, the other thing that I want you to take away from these badges is the fact that these badges, I'm sorry, that kind of threw me off, is that the pictures on these badges will come directly from the Mayfield system. So if you do not put your coach's picture in the Mayfield system, they will not get a badge and they will not be granted access on the field or to parks. We cannot have a coach with a badge with no picture. And I'm not taking any other pictures than what's in the Mayfield system. So Glenwood, they've done a great job thus far of pulling in those badges. And they, like Coach McCray, he's 6U coach from Glenwood, head coach. I pulled his badge right out of the system. Is Coach McCray in here? If he was in here, he would be able to acknowledge that this is his system badge. And we pulled it out the system. Let me see. Gotta go to next. So a lot of people keep asking, why is Mayfield so passionate about academics? We just want to play football and so forth. Get that, totally understand where you guys are coming from. But I feel the need to answer this question as to why we are looking or why we're so passionate about academics. The quick and simple answer is that Mayfield believes that academically rewarding student athletes early and often in their youth career creates positive behaviors toward future athletic endeavors by normalizing education and sports. Mayfield is built around giving back to the communities we serve. To serve those communities, we use football to expose our participants to rewarding opportunities on and off the field. In today's world of sports, we know academics is the tool used to diversify the recruiting playing field. And with the onset of NIL opportunities, we believe that academics will become more of a focal point toward those opportunities. So we want to get our kids used to the education side up front as soon as possible so that they can excel later on down the line in school. So I hope that answers the question as to why we are focused heavily on education in addition to football. Speaking of that, so what do we offer and what are some of the things in which I'm referencing as I'm talking about academics? So everyone in here to join, you already know that Mayfield has a spelling bee requirement. We host an annual spelling bee every year, and every team will participate, and you must have 3 spelling bee participants. And again, I want to stress, every team must participate with at least 3 participants to be playoff eligible. Secondly, the spelling bee will be October 9th at Glenwood Hills Recreational Center. And again, like I said, it is a requirement. If the requirement is not met, the respective team shall be removed from the Mayfield postseason. We also offer Scholar Athlete Awards. So we award all athletes with an A average or above. We can't get no higher than A, but an A average. And then all athletes with an AB average based on their 2022 spring and fall academic grades. And more to come about that from our academic commissioner. And finally, for those kids that's played in Mayfield, they have an opportunity to get collegiate scholarships. So as these kids begin to play and then they go on to high school, and as they get ready to graduate from high school, there is an avenue within Mayfield that they can compete by writing an essay for a Mayfield scholarship. So key certification dates that I want everybody to take into account. The system will lock on August the 6th at 12 a.m. Teams will be deleted at that time if you are under the 15-player minimum. Certification schedule will release on Sunday, August the 7th, with instructions on how and where to upload player age verification documents. Certification starts August the 8th and will end August 14th. Mayfield certification, player certification, is virtual via Zoom. If a player misses certification, makeup certification will be the first Wednesday after the first regular season game, which is August 31st. If you are at the 15-player minimum and you gain additional players after August 6th, you can request permission to add players to your roster. Requests are granted at the discretion of the Mayfield Board of Directors. So game day roster examples. So in Mayfield, we do not use books. So what we do is we give you access to an online system, and as the head coach and or team manager, you have access to all of the teams at your respective age group. So from the moment those teams become finalized in the system, you now have a certified roster that you can pull up on your phone and or your desktop, laptop, and print out, bring to the games. If in the event that I do not recommend that you pull them up at the beginning of the year to last the whole year, because when we suspend a player, that information or a coach, it is uploaded on the rosters weekly. So any players that are suspended, underneath their name, it will say suspended. And they will remain suspended until we remove it in the system.
Also, if a jersey number changed, DeAndre.
Yep. And if there's a jersey number change, we can do that via the system, so there won't be any mishaps. And jersey numbers are allowed to change under certain rules and restrictions defined in the Mayfield rulebook. So let's go over, since we're talking about the Mayfield rulebook, this is a great introduction to general rule updates. We totally rewrote the Mayfield rulebook to meet today's environments and conditions. So I'm not going to sit here and read the whole rulebook to you and go through that. That's for you all to do if you really want to be informed. However, I will tell you, ignorance is not bliss. So the rule book is out there. Anybody that wants a copy or download a copy of the rule book, you may scan the QR code in the upper left-hand corner and you can save it to your phone and have access to it. Or you can go directly to the Mayfield website and or the Mayfield app to access our rule book. So key general updates. By general, I mean the things in which affect teams regardless of what age grouping they're in. So section 400, Mayfield, we've now defined what is off-season, preseason, regular season, and postseason. The intent of that was to make sure that because football is now year-round, we wanted to make sure that everyone is on the same page, and we put some regulations around those time periods. We're not here to try to police you. That's one of the things you're going to find out. What we're here to do here in this section is really just put definitions around those periods, if nothing more but for Mayfield protection. In section 700, the Mayfield rulebook defines the cutoff age date of July 1st for all age conferences. So whether you're 5U through 14U, we use now one age cutoff date, which is a change from last year as we were trying to go back or move back to July 31st. We've decided just to stay July 1st and keep it moving. Section 800, we define the path to becoming a team. And so I highly recommend that you read that, a verbal path commitment to certification. Section 900, we define in the rule book the composition of a Mayfield game day sideline staff. So you're allowed to have, you can have as many coaches as you want for practice and halftime. But for the purpose of who we're giving a badge to, and for the purposes of being on the sideline, you will have one head coach, 6 assistant coaches, 1 team manager. That is it. So you can get a total of 8 badges. We've established a max roster size of 35 players. If you got 36 and you come to us saying, I got 36 players, we're not going to grow it to 40. We're going to stay steadfast on the 35. So please don't come to us with that question, because 35 is more than enough kids. Actually, that is the cusp of what all you can get in a game. The Mayfield rule book will also now define what is a national player. So again, I highly recommend that you all read that one, because in the event that you try to add a kid to the roster right before the regular season, that kid may or may not be eligible per the national player rule. So I highly recommend that you all read that section of it. Because one of the things that we know that happens in this environment is that these parents are jumping around and trying to move kids to best benefit themselves, which there's nothing wrong with that, but there has to be a cutoff time frame for that. Nobody wants to have a team that they built and they practice around all year and all summer, and then because they lost the game, the whole team disappears. And as league leaderships, we got to stop that by not allowing those kids, allowing that behavior to go unaddressed. So we now define the national player. And again, I hope you all read it and don't put yourself in that situation, because it will put your team in violation of having an ineligible player on it. Section 1000 defines the coach's sideline game day attire and the rules for game day visors. So one of the things that we looked at was, we want to make football a little fun for the kids and bring back a little bit of their style. So we have defined what game day visors will be allowed with the colors. Game day visors have now advanced to the point where they can be color and you can still see the eyes of the kids. So we will permit it so long as the referee, the head referee, it feels like he can safely identify through those visors. It will be strictly up to the head, the white hat. If he tells you that he's not comfortable with it, then we're going to ask that you remove the visor and we keep it moving. Do not hold no game up over no visor. I'm asking you guys very nicely. We are talking with the Referee Association about this, so they are aware that this is a new rule of ours and that we're doing it with the intent of bringing back some flash and fun for the kids. Section 1200 defines the meaning of football practice and the rules for a during the summer section practice, which of course we're going to allow you to practice, way more hours. But because we are a place where the student athletes play, we also now define practice restrictions once school starts. And then those restrictions get loosened during league playoff time frame and postseason. And then we define the players' equipment acclimatization requirements. And the reason we did this is because for some odd reason, football tends to keep backing up early and early and early, and we keep getting an abundance of requests for people that's trying to play in these tournaments in June. So we've now put some rules and guidelines in and around how we believe that we can approach this as a collective group. So those rules are pretty much steadfast and firm. So once you read it, I'm gonna highly recommend that you don't jump into some tournament that will put you in violation to those rules, because at that point, we need to afford these kids the opportunity to get used to the pads. Next, section 1300 talk in that section, it talks about what we define as the schedule. But more importantly, I want you all to know that Labor Day, we will not play any games on Labor Day weekend, not Maple sponsored games anyway. So if you want to do tournaments, take a vacation, relax, I'm telling you now, there won't be any games. So please feel free to use that time to your liking. We define the home field hosting requirements and rules, and what it means. So if you are with a park that has less than 4 teams, I highly recommend that you read that section. We define game day admission rules. So Mayfield charges will allow our league members to charge a gate fee. No park is allowed to charge a fee of greater than $5. And all people the age 15 and under are free. So if you feel like, or if you experience any violation, or your parents experience any violation of that rule, call us immediately so that we can rectify that situation. Tell your parents, please do not pay them folk over and beyond that $5. Because again, this is not really out here to make a bunch of money, but it is, that rule was instilled to help some of our associations offset some of the fees without trying to get it out of the few collection of the parents. The other thing to that rule, only head coaches and their staff, team manager included, that are in good standing with ID in their hand will be permitted into the group free. So what I'm saying by that is, if you do not have your badge, pay whatever the gate fee will be. Part of that is you got to have your badge. That helps us identify who you are. Secondly, I recommend that all park directors each week print out the rosters of the teams that will be coming in, which will also have the coach's face on it, to make sure that that coach or staff member has not been suspended. Because at that point, they would not be in good standings and they should not be permitted to go in for free. And there may be certain restrictions around should they go to the game or not, or be allowed in the game. Next from there, we have, we define the roles and responsibility of the Mayfield game day representative. So we are working, and this is not 100% solidified, so thank God we're recording this, but we are working toward having our own representatives at game fields. The intent there would be to have better control and visibility from a Mayfield standpoint of the activities going on on the game field. They will not be there to police the parking lots and all that kind of stuff. They are there to kind of help do the pregame certification and check-ins, make sure that the right people are on the field with the appropriate badges. They are there to ensure that at the end of the game, the scores get entered in a timely fashion. And they are there to document any confrontations and or mishaps between two Mayfield certified teams within the game boundaries, and to also help us manage the referees. Now, rules specific to 5U through 8U are defined in this section. So section 1300, if you haven't read the rule book, is related to our playing rules. So under this section, we define the field size for 5U is 80 yards. All other age groups are 100-yard playing fields. Only 5U is 80 yards. The referee crew size for 5U is 2 officials. For 6U is 2 officials, and for 7U is 2 officials. It goes up to 3 officials beginning at 8U. We define the Mayfield pregame roster checks and what late players mean. So one of the things in which we're trying to do is tie pregame certification to the field boundaries itself. So I know we like to do all that chanting and hoopla before the game, but I'm telling you guys now, there are rules in there where when it's time to line up, it's time to line up so we can get that certified, so we can get the day going. So when we certify, you cannot, after pregame certification, you cannot leave that field of play. The reason we put that in there is because we don't want you to certify off to the side, team gets certified, and then now that you're all opportunity, because now you've been certified and nobody's going to look at your team again. So we want to keep you restricted to the field boundaries at the certification. And if you certify fast enough and you want to go run back to the corner to do your smoke or your chanting or run through your banner, that is permissible so long as we do this within the allotted time frame. On-field coaching rules. So at 5U, all season long, there will be allowed 2 coaches at 5U to be on the field with the players. The goal there is 1 to support the offensive and defensive line, and 1 to support the skill in like quarterback, running back positions, because we want that game to move as fast as possible, because it is a shortened time clock. There's 1 coach permitted, and all the coaches must be in good standings with their badge. There is 1 coach, 1 certified coach in good standings for the 6U age group all season long. And then there's 1 coach in good standing with ID badge for the 7U until the 4th Saturday in September. On the 4th Saturday in September, we are now no coaches on the field. So on the 4th Saturday in September, there shall be no more on the field coaching for 7U. Headsets are allowed on the sideline and press box areas only. No helmet shall be equipped with any communication devices. Quarter structures and length, 5U, and this is one that we always used to get wrong, so we made it a point of contention with the referees and the park directors. 5U games are 4 6-minute quarters. 6 through 8U games are 4 8-minute quarters. 5U has 5U through 7U have a 40-second play clock. 8U has a 25-second play clock. 5U has no kickoff. So we define the 5U kickoff rules. There's no kickoff at 5U. There's no punting allowed at 5U, and there are no field goals allowed at 5U. The ball at 5U starts from the 25-yard line, and 6U through 8U will kick off. So from 6U, 7U, and 8U, please do not go in there thinking, oh, well, we ain't work on kickoff, so now it's up to us as the coaches. No. those age groups are required to kick off. So I'm telling you guys now, please make sure that you're preparing kickoffs for 6, 7, and 8U. Kickoff will be from the 40-yard line, unless we are in the Mercer rule or there's a safety, and at which time Georgia high school rules prevail as to where we kick off from. Under the Mercer rule, the ball starts at the 35. 6 and 7U, there shall be no fake punts. So if you declare the punt and you choose to punt the ball, because you got a 6-year-old or 7-year-old that can punt it, that you feel like you can punt it beyond the 25-yard walk-off, you may do that, but you cannot declare a punt and then fake the punt, and no punts can be rushed. No field goals can be rushed. We also define the 8U punting and field goal rules. I suggest if you're an 8U coach, you go read those rules to make sure that you're versed in them. We define the 5U and 6U snap orientation. So at 5U and 6U, you are allowed to turn the ball from vertical to horizontal to snap the ball, but in the event that we have to do a ball will be turned back vertical. So at 5U and 6U only, they can turn the ball sideways. Once you hit 7U, that ball has to be vertical. 7U going up, that ball must be in a vertical format. You cannot turn that ball sideways. And even last year, I saw 10-year-old teams with the doggone ball sideways. That is not allowed. And then last but not least, in section 1300, we define the defensive alignment rules for 5U, which will be no A-gap alignment. So that means that at 5U, your 2 D tackles or whatever format you're going with, they must line up in a minimum in a 2 technique. And for those that don't know a 2 technique, that's head up the guard. They must be head up the guard. And then we define what defensive alignments are allowed for 6U through 8U during shotgun protection. So there is some shotgun protection at those age groups, 6 through 8. So I highly recommend you read it. And there is a definition for what is meant by shotgun. So coaches that's trying to be slick is gonna move the guy like 1 yard behind the center and just kind of do a short snap. You are not in shotgun. I think shotgun is defined as, I want to say it's a minimum of 4 yards. It may be 3, but it's a minimum of 4 yards away from the center. Section 14, 1400 actually is the big takeaway from this one. As it relates to playoffs, is we redefine the tiebreaker, and it will be overall record, then head, and then points allowed, and finally out of division record. So we used to do out of division record and then points allowed, but because we may be forced in situations where we're not playing a balanced schedule in the event that 2 teams are from the same program, or the numbers aren't even, we move points allowed up to kind of be the tiebreaker over out of division record. So we hope that that will eliminate some of the confusion that we've seen in past playoff bracket play. So now we are at that beautiful portion of questions. So now that we're at the question section, please feel free. The questions are to be typed into the chat so that we're not talking all over each other. And what that would allow us to do is answer the questions that have been typed. So we have 20 minutes for Q&A. Any questions? Give y'all a minute to start typing.
Check, DeAndre. There's no guards allowed.
I don't see him, Monday. Somebody send a message. Okay. Can you clarify the rule for parents on the sideline during games? No parents are on the sideline during the games. Only
There's no. Go ahead, DeAndre. I'm sorry.
only individuals with Mayfield badges in good standing are allowed on the sideline. So if they do not have a badge, they are not allowed on the sideline unless they are holding a chain and or down marks. Beyond that, they are not allowed on the sideline.
Also, DeAndre, please let them know that if there's a coach and if a coach was rejected from a game and suspended, then they need to verify that on that week's roster, because we do the same thing with the coaches that we do with the kids. We put suspended.
Correct.
Your next question is nose guards allowed?
Yes, nose guards are allowed at 8U, provided that the team is not in shotgun.
How many regular season games?
We have a total of 8 regular season games played across 10 weeks. The first game will be August 27th, which is week 1. Week 2 is Labor Day week, which we take off. And then the regular season ends the last Saturday in October. So that puts you at a total of 10 weeks. And somewhere in between there, you will have an additional bye, as it also relates to so your first bye is September on Labor Day weekend, and your next bye will be somewhere throughout the season.
If I want to scout, can I still use my badge at other games?
Yes, you are allowed. Your badge as a coach allows you access to all Mayfield games.
The team manager has a staff of 16 months under her. How does the badge works on the field?
One team manager. So, and who we're only giving, so Mayfield is only giving one badge to a team manager, one badge to a head coach, and 6 staff badges. Beyond that, you can have as many people helping you as possible, but they can only help from pregame and then during halftime and then postgame. They will have to pay to get in.
Will there be an extension for personnel to sign up?
Absolutely. So in personnel, I'm hoping that you're meaning staff or badge members. So the reason why we went to the badge process that we went through is we know volunteers have lives and things happen throughout the year. So what I mean by that is, let's say you had your 6 coaches and you had everybody lined up, and all of a sudden one of your coaches move out of town because their job takes them away. The beautiful thing about the badge process this year is you contact Mayfield, we will remove the coach that is no coach, team mom, or staff member that is no longer on that team. We will upload them with the new staff member. We will then create them a badge. And again, they must pay their $25, regardless of when it happens in the season. And then we will send that badge directly to the address on file for that association. So all badges will be mailed, direct ship or drop ship from the badge making company to the league members association address. So that gives the park directors an opportunity to make sure that they're controlling who in their park is getting a badge and representing them.
Okay. For 7U, just to be clear, we will have to punt on the 4th down, and will there a rush from the defense or wait for the ball to be kicked?
At 7U, no, that is not the rule. 7U, and please verify in the rule book, because I'm going off the top of my head. But at 7U, you can elect to punt and the ball will fall dead where it drops. Or you can do the 25-yard walk-off with the 10-second clock rundown. But there's no rushing at 7U.
How many seconds is allowed after the snap on a punt for 7U?
10. If
So
you
there,
elect to punt it.
okay. So there's no running clock, just a mercy rule at 26 points.
No, the clock begins running at 26 points, and who's ever on defense, excuse me, whoever's winning the game, they are first and goal from the turnover on downs. So if you receive if the losing team was driving and they fumbled the ball, or you stopped them at the 5-yard line, from the 5-yard line, you are first and goal. You got 4 plays to score.
My 7U, we have 4 coaches and 3 team managers that is already registered in Mayfield. Is this okay? Because there's still only 7 staff.
Technically, yes, you are still under the staff rule. At some point, we will only issue 1 team manager badge, and the rest of them we would deem as staff.
Coaches on field conduct, challenging other coaches, and profanity.
Again, that's why the QR code is there. So if you feel like something has gotten way, way beyond, and we have the, we're hoping to have the Mayfield Game Day representatives there, you can scan that QR code and file your petition.
If the parents hold the chains, can they get a refund?
Good damn question, but well, let me say it this way. I'm gonna leave that up to each of the individual parts, because the home team is responsible for holding the chains. So how they want to, charge their parents or what they're doing, that's going to be at the home team's discretion.
Are videographers allowed to be part of our staff, and what are the rules for them being on the field?
So the beautiful thing about a officer, that's why they have the black badges. So directors are allowed to be on any sideline, and they will not impact your
DeAndre,
yeah.
not directors, are videographers.
Oh, videographers, they are part of your staff. Unfortunately, they will be a staff, they will be part of your staff. And I know the intent of that is to really start capturing some of this lead play, which is good for advertising. You know what? Before I say as part of your staff, let me revisit that with the referees, and I will owe you guys an answer on that one. So I'll take that one down as a takeaway to really think about that one, because
they should be independent. The videographers should be independent. They should not be counted on the staff roster at all.
All right, guys, remember we record. So if you got something, make sure that you put it in the group.
Guys, you make sure you have to mute yourself, guys.
So in the event that that person is independent, they are independently there for someone or to see something. So again, just let me revisit that one as a takeaway, and I'll give you guys an answer back on that one. Because the video
A-gap players allowed, are A-gap players allowed at 7U, correct? A-gap players allowed at 7U, correct?
You're muted, DeAndre.
DeAndre, you're muted. Hold on. Unmute yourself, DeAndre, now.
All right, I'm sorry. A-gap players are allowed at 7U, provided that the team is not in shotgun.
No communication and helmets of the quarterback at 8U, right?
At no age group. Helmet communication is not allowed period, at no age group.
At 6U, if you choose not to kick, what are the options in scoring and types of plays, passing or rushing?
If you choose not to kick, it's regular football.
When will the schedule get released?
When y'all get y'all stuff together. So y'all asked it, so I'm gonna touch on it. So what's going on with the schedule and all those things? We've asked everybody to have their minimum players of 15 in the system. The reason I was asking for that was so that I can start building the mock schedule and putting that activities around it. I've asked you guys to also start putting all your head coaches in and your staff members in, and we still don't have everybody in the system as requested. So the schedule will come out based on how well you guys execute. I wanted the schedule to release by the 14th, on the last day of certification. That following day, I wanted to release the schedule. But again, that can only be done if you guys do your part.
Chain crew is neutral party, correct?
No, chain crew is the responsibility of the home team. So by being neutral, yes, they cannot speak, they cannot coach, they cannot be on the phone on the chain crew. They have to be silent on the chains and just moving along.
What about filming games? Can one of our coaches film from the sidelines?
Oh, absolutely. They're on the sideline. That they are within, as long as they stay within the coach's boundary box, they're more than welcome. And they got a good staff badge and so forth. Yes.
When and will the badges be issued?
So actually I was hoping to have the badges come out to you all starting next week. Unfortunately, again, this goes back to we don't have all the coaches loaded in the system. All the pitchers are not in the system. The coaches just got in there. But I can tell you from the time that the badges or you get in the system, the money's paid. I upload the badge and create it. It ships same day, so long as that is before 4 o'clock, and you'll get it in 1 to 3 business days. Or I say, excuse me, 2 to 3 business days.
How do we contact Mayfield if we have to change badges?
You use the Mayfield info@mayfieldatl.org email address to communicate those changes and deactivations.
Devontae,
Yes, Clark.
I'm sorry. DeAndre, can I ask a question?
All
If
questions
we're-
will be typed in. Go ahead, Clark.
Okay. If we're in the mercy rule, can a team throw the ball
Yes, the team can do whatever they want to in merchant rule.
even
They
if
only
you
got,
up
they, but
26?
they only limited to 4 plays.
Okay. All right.
Okay. How do we pay the $25 for the badge? When is the deadline to pay the $25?
So to make it easy on everybody and all individuals, we're going to send the bill over to the associations and they will collect the badge money from you guys as the coaches. So once the system is loaded up with all the coaches, I've already started running exports of all the staff members and the users from the system. I've already started to remove any duplicates. So if you are in there 2 and 3 times because you are a team manager and you're an assistant coach, I removed you and I'm using your youngest Mayfield ID number. So some of us may have multiple Mayfield ID numbers. For an example, I'm a park director, I'm a part of the Mayfield board, and I'm a head coach. So I have 3 different numbers. So because I have 3 different numbers, my youngest number is, I think, 2250. So my 2250 number becomes my coaching ID number. So that's the one that gets used for my badge purposes going forward.
Okay, DeAndre, we got like 10 minutes left. We got a total of 42 questions. We're not going to get all these questions in. So what we'll do, we'll create a Q&A fact page on the website for the coaches only, and they'll be able to pull these questions in. I will ask you a few of them until it's time. Will there be an extension for players to sign up pending the start of school? So answer quickly.
Again, if you don't have, yes, again, like I said, August 6th is the deadline to be, well, today is the deadline to have 15 minimum. August 6th is when we delete the teams and the system locks. So again, if you ain't got 15 players by now, just because school start, you ain't gonna get no 15 players.
It's hard.
So I don't see that happening. So while we will allow you to add, you still got to be at your minimum of 15.
For 7U, if we don't want your coach on the field for the first few games, are the other coaches still allowed to do so?
Absolutely. You can choose to do what you need to do, and they can choose what they need to do. Just because you're ready, they may not be. So they are still allowed to have their coaches on the field.
Will there be police officials present during game day? There was a lot of parent confrontations and almost fights.
Well, the good thing, they was almost fighting.
DeAndre, you muted again.
As I said, the good thing is that they were almost fights and not real fights. So I commend the parents for being able to reserve themselves. But per the Mayfield rule book, security is supposed to be present at all Mayfield games.
Will there be banquets or homecomings?
Banquets is, Mayfield is intending, and it is our desire to do our own gala this year. And the Mayfield Board of Directors is working diligently on that awards gala where we can recognize our student athletes. As far as homecomings, that's up to each association to determine, when the best time for them to host their homecomings.
On 6U, can there be a man lined up over the center?
For the 5th time. Yes, so long as they are not in shotgun.
Are state IDs required?
No, state IDs are not required. You can use a state ID as a form of age verification evidence. You will also be able to, so when we do certification, you will have to upload all these documents to kind of like a Dropbox via the Cognito form that Devontae will create. So we will have those documentations, whether it's a state ID, a copy of the state ID, a copy of the original birth certificate, passport, and or national sports ID. And in the event that a kid becomes in question, it will be your responsibility to present the original documentation that matches what we have on file in our uploaded documentation.
How many points do you get for running, kicking, and field goals for extra points?
So the way we do it is a touchdown is 6 points. After a touchdown, you can run or pass. It will only be 1 point. Field goals are 2 points. After a touchdown, you have 2 options. Three. You can run in an extra point for 1 point. You can pass for an extra point for 1 point, or you can choose to kick an extra point field goal and get 2 points. In the event that you didn't score and you wanted to line up to kick a field goal, then it would be 3 points as normal.
Can 7U line up head up over center when not in shotgun?
Number 6, yes.
I know. Lost badges, what are the fees to replace?
$45.
Hold on 1 second, that's the same question again.
And I will tell you guys this about the badges. If you lose and it's $25, these badges cannot be duplicated. The badges they come with holograms. So again, we take the integrity of our league and our coaches very serious. And so each badge has its own trademark hologram overlay. So even when you copy the badge, you will see the overlay like you do on the check where it says board.
If pitchers are given an error message on upload pictures for players, what are the next step to get the pictures inside the Maple system? What you're doing, I'll answer that one. What you're doing, guys, is you are making the picture too large. Go to photos, go to resize, and make it a, I think it's called an icon size. I forgot or thumbnail size. Once you do thumbnail, then you're able to upload that picture to the system.
Another way to do it too is take all your pictures, put them inside a PowerPoint, as you know, one at a time. Select them all, go up to picture format, and you can click resize. And when you hit resize, you resize for email purposes. And what it'll do is shrink the size of the picture. And it'll also allow you to do the orientation to make sure everything is right as you're moving forward, you know, in PowerPoint. That's another trick you can do.
Right. Are field goals rushed?
At the junior level, no. There's no rushing the field goals. So we're down to our last 3 minutes. I'll take 2 more questions, and then I will give Dr. Parks the last word.
DeAndre, there are no more questions. We are letting people in for the next session. We look forward to you having, if we were to close the system today, we wouldn't have but maybe about 12 teams. So please go ahead and get your teams players in. We've looked over those today because I was trying to put the certification roster together. I can't put a decent certification roster together because I don't even know if a team exists. So please, when I say a team exists, I'm going to use Fairburn because I'm with Fairburn. Let's say Fairburn didn't have a 9 or 10-year-old team in the system as of right now, but we knew that they were coming. If I look at the roster, I don't know that team even exists. So just to let you know, I need something in the system. I don't care if it's a head coach or staff. I need something to even let me know that that team does exist. Our mascot is wrong with our group. How do we change it?
Who
Ebony,
mascot?
Ebony, who is your mascot? You can call me, let me know who your mascot is, and we will change it.
Well, who's she with?
I know that's what I'm trying to find out.
Elite.
What age
6U,
group?
y'all have 6U Vikings, but we're the Ducks.
Well, y'all just got on there. Bam.
Don't do that.
And yeah, the Atlanta Elites are they're black and whatever color.
Oh man,
black
they
and red
about
color.
900 color, Devontae. So we just
Yeah, so you're gonna have to.
we
One is
record
gonna,
now. We record.
I know one of them is gonna be your main, and from there you just have to go from there.
Yeah, but no, I will go in, and if you guys give me all the Atlanta Elite mascots, I will go in and make sure that I get them all updated. I already got the Bengals at 11U. I don't have the 6, the 10, or the 9. So you can just, put them in the coaches informational group. All right, Devontae, we're down to 2 o'clock. So we want to get these good people out here so I can clean some stuff up and get ready for the next group. So thank you all.
So guys, we want to thank you all for coming, participating. If you are not a part of the next group, because we only have 2 minutes left, I'm going to stop recording this one. And we look forward to seeing you next week, okay? We'll be looking in the system and contacting you directly if we need to. Thank you.
Y'all take care. Good luck.